It's finally playoff time, and you know the deal by now. I'm Bobby Broyles, and he's Tim McDonald, and we're more than ready for this week in NCAA football presented by GEICO. Plenty to get to today, but before breaking down what's next for the league in the playoffs, let's recap the final Saturday of the regular season.
All right, that's where we'll start. Well, Richmond gets it done at home versus William & Mary, a convincing 20-9 win. Got to start with Jacoby Green. He's been the workhorse for this team, especially in the second half of the season. Scored his 15th rushing touchdown of the season. Also finishes the regular season in NCAA football as the rushing leader. 20-9 win, I mean, to hold William & Mary off the scoreboard just to field goals is really impressive, but more impressive than that is 95 rushing yards allowed. Richmond's defense also picked off Steve Cluley 3 times. That was huge in that game. Hats off to the Spiders, the 4th straight Capital Cup win. You got to look around the league. I was at JMU. I watched JMU handle Villanova, got it outlasted the Wildcats, and really got it done on all phases. We saw a kick return. We saw a 77-yard fumble return by Taylor Reynolds. We saw a pick 6. So JMU really clicking on all cylinders and got rewarded. We'll get into that in a little bit. William & Mary, unfortunately, obviously a sour taste, but the Tribes still get in. And then you look at Towson and New Hampshire. New Hampshire keeps its playoff streak alive, gets it home versus Maine. 11 straight wins in November, a 4-game winning streak to end the season, so really deserving in New Hampshire to get the playoff bid. Towson, in my opinion, got left out of the playoffs. They were one of the last teams. In my opinion, they were snubbed. You finished 7-4 in this conference. I think you deserve a playoff spot. You got to give a credit to Stony Brook, too. Finished the season on a high note with 3 straight wins. Donald Leotone had 202 yards of offense, and Stony Brook held Albany, wins the Golden Apple, and holds Albany to 165 yards of offense, so congrats to the Seawolves.
Then came FCS Selection Sunday. Tim, CA football's 4 bids were the second most of any conference. Leading the way were a pair of national seeds in JMU at number 5 and Richmond at number 7. William & Mary also returns to the postseason for the first time since 2010, and New Hampshire, as mentioned, added to its remarkable playoff streak. And perhaps most importantly, Tim, all 4 teams are guaranteed at least one home game.
I think that is key. We talk about the playoffs and we talk about playing in front of your home fans, playing in comfort, and CA football got rewarded for that. Why? William & Mary 5-0, Richmond 5-0, JMU 5-1, New Hampshire 5-0. I think that had something to do with it. I also think all teams in CA football this year obviously played a full Division I schedule. When you look across the board, there's no other conference that had that type of continuity. I think CA football got a good draw. You look at this bracket, I know it's a little bit disappointing to see New Hampshire and James Madison on the same side of the bracket. Down on the right-hand side, you see Richmond and William & Mary. Again, potentially, if teams win in CA football in this first weekend, potentially we're seeing a second-round matchup of 4 CA football teams. Obviously, it's a little bit disappointing knowing that you can only have 2 teams potentially advance to the quarters, but I think it's absolutely key. And one thing I know some fans across other conferences, I know other schools, were a little bit angry that, the Valley had 5 teams on the same side of the bracket, but if there's anything we've seen in the last 3 years in FCS playoffs, it's that regionalization is a factor, and regionalization is key, especially in the last 3 years since the field expanded to 24 teams. Teams that play each other in conference play, no matter where you are, west, east, wherever you're at, you're going to end up playing each other. The way I look at it, Bob, if we've learned anything these last 3 years, especially in the playoffs, if you're going to advance and move on, you're going to have to play good teams. So let's just be happy that we're in the playoffs. I think that's what you have to look at it as your CA football fan. No matter, yes, you want to play other conferences, but you know what? To beat the best teams, you have to play the best teams, and that's the FCS playoffs in a nutshell right there.
That includes your conference opponents.
It does.
Let's move on to the 2 matchups this Saturday. Very convenient for viewers as both games take place at 3:30 and will be on ESPN3 and the Watch ESPN app. In Durham, New Hampshire hosts Colgate, the Patriot League champions. This is the second time these 2 teams meet this season. Obviously, a lot more on the line now, and the winner will head to Harrisonburg to take on JMU in round 2.
It's very rare in the FCS playoffs to not only play a team that you've already played in the regular season, but to play a non-conference opponent. It's just the way regionalization worked out. New Hampshire gets a home game. We know how well they play in the Dungeon. And these 2 teams met earlier in the season. UNH won 26-8. That was the second game of the year for both teams. And remember, Sean Goldrich missed most of the second half in that contest because of an injury. I think you can throw that out the window, though, that the teams, New Hampshire already beat them. It's a different animal. The playoffs, as you know, Bob, are a different animal. New Hampshire is playing a Patriot League opponent for the 3rd straight season at home. The job by the Wildcats, after that Delaware loss, 3-4, 4 straight wins to close the season. You asked if they were going to be a bubble team, and they were, but I think it's deserving that they get in the playoffs. You look at this New Hampshire team at home, 166-76 outscoring opponents, 47-5 at home since 2007, 5-0 at home already this season, so I think that's going to be huge, obviously. Sean Goldrich, since that second half of the Rhode Island game, the offense has been clicking a little bit more, 24 points per game, 405 yards per game. Goldrich has 8 touchdowns total, 6 passing and 2 rushing. And Dalton Croston is a guy right now who Coming into the year, we knew he was going to have an impact on this New Hampshire offense, but I didn't think we knew the severity of that, and it's been incredible. 159.6 all-purpose yards per game, that leads CAA football. 16 total touchdowns, that also leads CAA football. New Hampshire playing at home in the comfort, in the playoffs, and having that experience, I think is going to be huge. Colgate's a team that won the Patriot League, won 7 of 8 coming in since that loss to New Hampshire. Jake Melville is the key for Colgate on offense. He's a dual-threat quarterback, 8 rushing touchdowns, 8 passing touchdowns. If New Hampshire can stop him, I think they're going to have a chance in this game. New Hampshire's offense, if it can keep up that consistency, Goldrich is finding receivers in the running game, is not overpowering teams, but getting it done. I think that's going to be key. New Hampshire at home, Bob, I think is tough, especially in the playoffs, where they've proven the last couple of years that they can get the job done.
The other showdown, which will take place in Williamsburg, features William & Mary against the NEC champion Duquesne. The winner travels to Richmond next Saturday.
The Tribe have a sour taste in their mouth, and rightfully so. You know, a tough game at Richmond last week. Could have won the CAA football automatic qualifier as well as the championship. Obviously lost that game, only scoring 3 field goals. First home playoff game for William & Mary since 2010. This is also the last time William & Mary was in the field. I just think, you know, people talk about the playoffs and you talk about momentum. For me, it's getting back on the horse this week. It's a good thing for me. I think that William & Mary has to play, especially at home. Anderson and Abdul Sabor are the 2 backs who've really driven this offense throughout the whole season. Since that JMU win, the last 3 games of the season, Anderson is averaging 61.3 yards per game, Abdul Sabor at 64. Something needs to change, I think, offensively a little bit. They need to get the ground game going, especially against Duquesne, a team out of the NEC who's already played a CAA football team and lost this year. They lost to Albany. They've had 2 non-Division I opponents. First time ever for Duquesne coming to the playoffs. William & Mary, no player on this roster has played in the playoffs as well, and especially at home. I think for Steve Kluwe and the offense, it's just getting back to the run game, getting back to what they do best, getting back on the horse this week and playing, not resting and having a bye week, I think is actually an advantage for William & Mary. I think that's going to be key in Williamsburg on Saturday.
Remember, folks, CAFootball.com has links to watch the live ESPN3 broadcast and follow live stats from both playoff games this Saturday.
We know there's only 2 games taking place this weekend, but our social media platforms will still be busy with a bunch of content. You can be sure to like CAA Football on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat by searching CAA Football. As always, we encourage fans to use our hashtag CAAFB, and of course, you can use the hashtag FCS Playoffs as well over the next coming weeks.
Tim, it will be nice to enjoy the holiday and then dial in for playoff action on Saturday. Looking forward to watching both teams play in their own backyards.
Couldn't have said that any better. I just hope you enjoy your, sweet potato pie at Thanksgiving?
It's sweet potato casserole.
All right, enjoy it. Sorry.
Have a safe and happy holiday, and we'll see you right here next week. Until then, let CAA Football's road to Frisco begin.